Greetings all, this is the Urban Omnist, and these are just a few of my thoughts on Omnism. See, to me, Omnism is really just the realization that we are all religions unto ourselves. Every single one of us has formed an image in his or her mind of what the universe is like, what God or not God is like. If you are religious, you've shaped a series of beliefs based on holy writings, on the priest's opinions, and your friends and parents, and even strangers, who've all contributed to your belief systems in one way or the other. Perhaps they told you a rule like a parent or teacher would. Perhaps another person gave their view and it caused you to look at things in a different way. Or perhaps it caused you to double down on your beliefs. You live a life that teaches you no matter what. And when all those rules turn out to be right, or not right, often depending on what happens in your life, your belief system compensates. You have a dynamic belief system that teaches you to a greater or lesser degree depending on what occurs in life and how we react and change to it. If we were brought up without religion, that's also a type of structure. Perhaps we find fulfillment in that. Or perhaps we seek out the religion we never had and become more zealous about that belief system than we ever would have if we'd actually been raised religious. Whatever the case, we build that image of the universe and how everything works. What can and can't happen. What exists and what doesn't exist. And each and every one of us has a slightly different story we tell ourselves. 10 members of the same congregation won't believe precisely the same thing because they all live different lives. Omnism, to me, is just about realizing that at the end of the day, all religious and belief systems of any kind are all symbols. And I don't mean they aren't true. I just mean I feel the ultimate purpose of Omnism would be to see beyond those symbols, or at least imagine beyond them. Religion has some really fascinating stuff in it. Seriously, it blows my mind the various ways they have all tackled so many complex issues over the millennia. To a degree at least, all of what we might call the supernatural elements are just images we use to describe what we can't see and can't know at the time. Some of those things are universal truths, and others may only have relevance until we find out what's really going on. And that is really fascinating to me. Seriously, look at all the cultures across the planet, the various religious traditions, the ways they all look at God, or simply at life, or simply an expression of what is around us and how it all works. All of those things are angles to me. Religion, philosophy, science. It isn't a matter of which is more accurate, or even more useful, or just more coddling. What matters is that they are all traditions which have made statements about what this is all about, and why it's here, and what we should do while we're here. When I say all of those are valid, I'm not saying they're all true. I'm saying that true is actually the thing we don't know, and can't know. And everything we think we know is more than likely wrong and will one day be proven to be something else entirely. This is not about dying on some hill. This is just about trying to use everything we have to understand reality. So, I use science. It's proven brilliantly correct about so many things. It's why we live in such a technologically advanced world with cures for so many diseases. And a hope to end poverty. I use philosophy. Not a particular philosophy, but philosophy as a whole. We've come up with a lot of good and bad ideas over the years. The things we got right have been great successes. And we've also learned from a lot of things that we've done wrong. I use religion. It's held our hand over the years by explaining the terrors of the dark to us in ways we could understand at the time. Some of those stories may have been literally true, some may have been metaphors, and others could be out-and-out lies. But regardless of what we think of them, they were created by those who moved people, Jesus Christ, the Buddha, Lao Tzu, Muhammad. Some of those were literal people. Others may have been stand-ins for a collection of interesting sayings, like Lao Tzu very possibly may have been. Regardless, they moved us then and they move us now. And like truly wise people, we can all take from them where we find wisdom and disregard what doesn't speak to us. The things we don't take aren't necessarily bad, so much as not useful to our lives at the moment. This is why having an elastic mind can help. Each of us already has an image in our head of right and wrong, no matter where we think we derive it from. Because at the end of the day, we all derive it from ourselves. Even the most devout Christian still interprets the law in the Bible with his or her mind. And the most ardent atheist still takes and rejects the morals society proposes. But it all comes down to what we think is right. And the vast majority of that is about how we treat each other. So maybe that's our first task. More important than how we see or don't see God is how we see each other. And, maybe even more importantly, how we see ourselves. I'm the Urban Omnist. Thank you all for spending a few minutes listening to my ranting.